Hello, my name is Blaine Buckaloo, and today I'm here with Madalyn, Pittman, and Aiden Hearn. Our report today is going to be over the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Today, I'm going to be discussing 3 key takeaways from this book and explain how these takeaways create effective leaders. So, the first one is going to be proactive behavior will change your outcome. You should always begin with the end in mind. When we know what goal that we're working towards, we can ensure that our actions will push us closer to a desired outcome, such as creating a backup plan or even considering how our actions are going to affect other people. The second is going to be synergy is the answer to finding new solutions. When you're working with multiple people, such as like a group project, it's important to know how you can align everybody's goals and achievements to create a smooth experience to completing a task. Others may have new ideas or strategies to completing a project that you probably hadn't considered before. And next, we have pour into interpersonal relationships, and those relationships will pour into you. There's seldom things in life that we do completely alone. So being able to have strong relationships with others makes us better people and helps us to become better leaders. In my job as a culture and prevention specialist, I work in substance misuse prevention. So we do a lot in the community. We're talking to people from all different walks of life and hearing their experiences and the situations that they go through help us to align our program to better serve our communities. So that's why I feel like it's important to have those interpersonal relationships, not just with coworkers, but to anyone that you're interacting with. Next, I've also summarized the author's philosophy into 3 main points. So the first one is going to be your lenses will shape your interpretations, so you need to change your lenses. Your lenses are kind of how you view the world, which are created through all of your personal experiences. But if you can change your lenses and gain knowledge from others, you will have a much more broader mindset, especially when it comes to finding solutions to problems that you hadn't considered before. The second one is going to be listen to understand instead of listening to respond. When we take the time to listen to understand, we start strengthening those interpersonal relationships that I mentioned earlier, which will increase the likelihood of becoming an effective leader. And then lastly, we have collaboration will provide strength where there are weaknesses. So when we work effectively with others, their strengths can cover weaknesses that we may have, which creates a better outcome for us all. So in my job, a lot of what we do is event planning for the community. I have a partner who is really good at the artsy side of things. So she usually takes the task of creating t-shirts, creating the advertisements for the event. And I'm the person that makes sure that we have a structured timeline and that we have all of the materials that we need for our event to be successful. So that's just another way that collaboration is something that we have to focus on in our professional lives. Stephen Covey also puts emphasis on sharpening the saw. So once you start to master your skills, whether they be habits, technical, relationships, or leadership skills, you should continue to hone your skills to become the best version of yourself. Being an effective person and leader means that we always consider what he said is the third option, something that we didn't consider before. We respect others' knowledge and their experiences because chances are they're going to differ vastly than our own. And lastly, we never stop trying to be the best version of ourselves.
To further elaborate on some of the points that Blaine made, I am going to go over our book concepts and how they are in alignment with our textbook that we're using for this semester. So the first concept I want to go over, although there were multiple, I'm only going to cover 3 today. So the first one is going to be seek first to understand, then to be understood. This was habit 5 of the 7 habits. Covey highlights that seeking to understand incorporates a lot of different aspects, and one of them being open to perception, changing our perspectives, and then also being open to learning or even being wrong. I felt that this actually really well applied to one of the quotes that I found in our textbook, which was, "Thus, we are asking you to make a shift away from the common sense perception of power as a thing that is tangible, quantifiable, in human possession, and toward thinking about power as a dynamic, shifting, and complex process that is fundamentally communicative in nature." The reason I found this to be pretty pretty parallel was because I found myself using habit 5 while I was reading the textbook, as it says, shift away from the common sense perception of power, because power normally is seen as a social rank or something to be grasped or earned. But instead, it suggests that power is intertwined in the way that we communicate with one another. And it's not necessarily a rank at work or a societal norm that we make it. We can use habit 5 to change our perceptions of power and see it in our everyday communication. The second concept that I want to highlight is synergize. This was habit 6 of the 7 habits. Covey highlights that real teamwork and innovation is the product when people with diverse backgrounds and perspectives work together. More specifically, he defines it as valuing differences, respecting them, and building strengths to compensate and compensating for weaknesses as well. That's what he believes synergy does. And this was completely applicable to our textbook as well, as I found a quote that says, more profoundly, however, as a question of identity becomes increasingly central to work life, we need to understand how difference plays a central role in human identity construction. And so it was in alignment because of the way that we see others differently, and we have to understand that we each have different backgrounds and different upbringings, different perceptions of things because of that. It sounds counterproductive, but it's actually the very thing that Covey suggests is going to bring us to a common goal and allow us to achieve it efficiently. I believe this presentation is a really great example of that, actually, because Aiden, Blaine, and myself are taking our different backgrounds, our different perspectives, our different education levels even, and working together to create a presentation and accomplish a common goal that we all want to do really well in. And then the third and final concept that I want to go over is begin with the end in mind, which was habit 2 of the 7 habits. Covey quotes, management is efficiency in climbing the ladder of success. Leadership determines whether the ladder is leaning against the right wall. I use this quote in alignment with our textbook because they actually use the same comparison between a leader and a manager, and the difference as well as some of the similarities between the two. However, they are completely different, while some of us can get them confused. And the quote is, leaders inspire, influence, and promote commitment in people, while managers simply direct subordinates' efforts and exercise authority over them. Leaders then create a vision of the future, and managers implement it. And Covey highlights begin with the end in mind is the habit. So leaders are the ones who are keeping the vision in their mind as they're accomplishing that goal. And I see this in my everyday work life as well. Whenever I have events that I need to plan or anything like that, I have to keep in mind my end goal is to have success for our company and value our associates' experience in that. And so, not to say I'm the best leader in the world, I do try to exercise these habits though to become a better leader. And I do believe that we can all benefit from exercising the habits that Covey highlights, and also keep them in alignment with the things that we are learning in this class as well. And I think Aiden's going to go over our summary to wrap it up.
Okay. So the first thing is to be proactive. Take responsibility for your own life and focus your efforts on things you can influence rather than reacting to external circumstances. Begin with the end in mind. Define your goals and desired outcomes clearly and align your actions with your long-term vision. Third thing is to put first things first. Prioritize tasks based on their importance, not just urgency, focusing on activities that contribute to your goals and values. Fourth thing was public victory, moving from dependence to interdependence. So going from being dependent on others to being dependent on yourself internally. Think win-win. Seek solutions that are mutually beneficial for all parties involved, fostering trust and positive relationships. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Practice empathetic listening to truly understand others' perspectives before expressing your own. Synergize, value, and leverage the differences and strengths of others to achieve better results than you could alone. Renewal and sharpening the saw. Continuously invest in your own personal and professional development by renewing yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And lastly, our key points for the book. The book emphasizes that true effectiveness comes from aligning your actions with timeless principles such as integrity, fairness, and human dignity. By practicing these habits, individuals can enhance their effectiveness, achieve their goals, and experience greater fulfillment in all aspects of life. Covey argues it's your character that needs to be cultivated to achieve sustainable success, not your personality. Covey claims also that these principles are self-evident and endure in most religious, social, and ethical systems. They have universal application. All right,
So
thank you.
basically, overall, sorry, Aiden, overall, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey showcases many important skills and lessons that all of us could incorporate into either professional or our personal lives. If I were to become a manager at any organization, this is definitely a book that I would recommend to my peers, and it's also something that I would be intentional about applying these lessons into my own leadership style. So overall, this was a really great book. There was many valuable lessons, and it did highly align with the communications textbook as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.